Chapter 10, Fairy Drafts. I can't believe we're in Chapter 10. I'm still a changeling. I still haven't made it with my boyfriend. And it's not even Halloween yet. Or Samhain, or whatever. This is bad news bears all around. I was curled in my bed, the fading daylight filtering through my curtains. Allie had just texted that she couldn't make it tomorrow. I was definitely disappointed, but I didn't want her to worry about me when she had other things to think about. I quickly tapped in a message and sent. It's okay. I'll spend the day stockpiling food and weapons for the apocalypse. Just go make sure this isn't my last night on Earth. Ha ha. I fell back, letting my phone fall on the pillow as I contemplated what I'd be doing all weekend by myself. Not really stockpiling weapons for the apocalypse. Just trying to figure out a riddle while not kidnapping myself, I guess. Because that was definitely a completely normal and sane weekend activity. You're really okay, right? Oh my god, yes! Chill out and focus on your gate duty or whatever. By the way, please be sure to keep using the herbs every night. There's a stray gate that opens in the area this time of year. We haven't figured out where it might open, and I don't want you sleepwalking your way into it. I definitely will. I hesitated a moment, staring down at my phone. I didn't know if I should ask about him, but I bit my lip and quickly sent another message. Oh, is it finally time? Is Mark helping you guys out? I saw him at the office, yeah. You two still not okay? Not okay was an understatement. Things between us were awful. The worst moment I'd had in the past few days was sitting with him in literature when it was clear neither of us wanted to be there. We'd read the assignment because we had to, but it was terse at best. Much like my first day at school when it had been obvious he didn't want me there. Today there had been a sort of undercurrent of nastiness. I'd half expected him to just walk out the entire time. I didn't know if it was concern about his grade or just sheer stubbornness that kept him from it. Either way, I didn't even know what to tell Allie. That's a good way to sum it up. Ugh. You still need to tell me what's going on. I know, but don't worry about it right now. Focus on work. I will call you tomorrow! Ah! Then tell me everything. As long as some villager's horror isn't assaulting the town. I keep telling you that won't happen. I'm preparing my anti-tentacle defense plan just in case. Pain in the butt. That's the idea. I set my phone down and rolled to my side. Allie never failed to cheer me up. But I was still ready for the weekend. I couldn't face another day of literature with Mark. Not without a break for my own sanity. Maybe you guys should sit down and chat like people. And have a conversation. I hated that he had just adopted a strategy of treating me like a stranger again. Worse than a stranger, really. I still didn't understand how he could easily just switch to hating me like that. I hated that even with Allie supporting me and helping me, I felt alone without him next to me snarking, being cranky, and all of that. Man, you have it bad for the boy. Took a deep breath. I can do alone. I've done alone for a really long time now. Like 18 years, whatever. I had and I could, but I didn't wanna. It felt lonelier now than it had in a really long time. Stupid fairies. Mark could say what he wanted about humans, but fairies were horrible. I flopped onto my stomach, clutching a pillow. It was scary, but it was mostly just infuriating. That was the real issue. I was so freaking angry. How could any being think it was fine to take another and use them like that? I knew that people said fairy morals were often very different from human, but How could they justify this? They were either evil or just insane. Or desperate. Mark was probably right. I was just a normal human. Because there was no way I could understand or accept that sort of mindset. Ugh. Mark. I reached for my phone again. I should just check on him or something. Maybe? Or at least apologize for losing my temper. I couldn't control what he did, but I should have at least controlled myself. I still didn't think my feelings were really wrong. This is true. But even if they weren't, that doesn't mean I'd handled it perfectly. Also true. Should I? For all I knew, he would never speak to me again. And, well, I couldn't change that if that's how he was going to be. But was I really okay leaving things this way on my end? Hey, I mean, neither of you are extending an olive branch of any kind. You're both just being snippy and, like, not willing to make any concessions. I think Mark could probably out stubborn Nora. I mean, they're both very stubborn. At the very least, you could say you tried to apologize. If he still doesn't want to accept it and continue to be a dick, that's his prerogative. But you know what? You were the bigger person. And if he's gonna continue to be a dick, then just write him off your list, girl, because it ain't worth it. I believe in this dream. Okay. I do it. Maybe he wouldn't care. Or maybe he didn't really even want to hear from me. Even if I had every right to be angry at the situation, even if I had every right to be angry at him, I was at least going to take the high road here. And I did agree with him that the burden of keeping humans safe shouldn't be put solely on cryptics. Humans should take responsibility for themselves, or rather, they should be allowed to do so. The system was broken, and that was what really caused situations like mine. I wanted to tell him that. I wanted to tell him that I knew it wasn't the existence of the paranormal that was the problem. That his existence wasn't a problem. I hadn't meant to make him feel that way. I pulled up his contact information, took a deep breath, and started typing. Listen, I should have said this sooner, but I'm sorry about what happened. I won't make excuses for anything I said or thought. I hope that we can talk about it. There are things I want to say. Things I didn't say well before. Cryptics aren't the problem. I do know that. You aren't a problem either. I've never thought you were a problem. I laid my phone down and waited. I didn't really expect an answer. Even if he wanted to talk at some point, I couldn't expect him to stop being mad just because I said sorry. Even so, I was still hoping for at least some acknowledgement. None came. I tossed my phone aside and let out a strangled groan. In the end, if he couldn't accept my apology and if we couldn't talk it out, that just demonstrated the depth or lack thereof of our relationship. Truth. I will assume, since Allie said she saw him at work, that he's probably working at the moment. In that case, walking away now would be better for us both. I wanted to be able to think that way anyhow. I flopped back on my bed, throwing an arm over my eyes. Blah. An apocalypse might actually be a nice distraction right now. Tentacles and all. Oh, you just had to say that, didn't you? I almost didn't hear the soft tap at my door. Not until the door opened slightly and I heard Spencer's voice. Don't tell me he, like, ran over here. Like, we gotta talk in person right now. Nora. I sat up quickly, eyeing the face poking through the door suspiciously. He looked weirdly nervous. Yeah? The door opened all the way and Spencer stood there, hands in pockets, looking off to the left. I raised an eyebrow. Yes?
I just...
I repeat, yes?
Do you... Would you... Do you...
What on earth is wrong with him? Okay. Is this you making an effort?
Want to go for a walk?
What? Me? With you?
There's literally no one else around that I could be referring to.
Well, yeah, but... I mean... You hate me. He looked away, shifting slightly.
I don't.
He looked at me again, expression serious.
I don't hate you.
Fine. You're scared of me. Whatever. Doesn't make for easy sibling bonding. He sighed in frustration.
Do you want to or not?
Wait. I got up and walked to the window, pushing it open. I leaned my head out a bit and listened carefully for a moment.
What are you doing?
Listening for trumpets. I'm pretty sure the end is near. Allie did mention something about an apocalypse this weekend.
For God's sake, just yes or no?
Okay. I will accept. Although I'm a little sus that you're leading me into a vampire ambush. That's probably not your fault. You're probably hypnotized into doing it. On the off chance that you are making an effort, though, let's do it, bro. Fine, yeah, let's go.
Really?
Don't look so surprised. You're the one that doesn't like me, remember? He looked away sheepishly, biting his lower lip.
I already said that's not true.
I grabbed my jacket and quickly stuffed my feet in my boots, zipping them up.
Well, let's just go. All right. I mean, I'm the one waiting on you.
I rolled my eyes as I stepped into the hallway. When we went down together, I could see Mom lurking in the kitchen, pretending she wasn't watching. She was grinning ear to ear as she peeked at us. I was glad that, at least to them, it looked like we were resolving our differences. I heard her say something to Dad right as the front door closed.
I told you coming back here would be good for them.
I rolled my eyes. Yeah, right. I mean, in a way, it kinda is. Probably things never would have changed if you had stayed in the city. Spencer and I walked silently as we headed toward a narrow walkway on the opposite side of the road. It ran all the way along the street down to the bridge area. On one side of it was an empty wooded lot. On the other side was a thin veil of trees that screened it from the road. It was nice. A good place for quiet walks and quieter ambushes. For a while there was nothing but the sound of our feet on the path. It was a nice day, though it was getting a bit cold. Nights were definitely worse by now. I was glad I'd curbed the sleepwalking issue before the temperature took such a nosedive. Running around at night in this weather definitely would not have been good for me.
You know...
I looked up at him, surprised when he finally spoke. Yeah?
I spent the last 5 years convinced you were some kind of intruder that stole my sister and invaded our house.
What a conversation opener.
Every single day I waited for you to attack me again. I thought that's why you stuck around. Or I thought maybe you wanted to kidnap me too. Or kill us all. I just assumed you knew what was going on because of what happened that day. It wasn't that I hated you. I mean, I guess I did. But it's hard to not hate someone you think is there to do something terrible. And no one would believe me. I blamed you for that too. For making everyone think I was crazy.
It was the most he talked to me in, well, years really. And it was the first time he had said anything like that. He also used the word crazy of his own volition. I wasn't entirely sure how to respond. I'm sorry for what happened back then.
If what you said about being a changeling is true, then it wasn't even you who did those things.
I know that, but of course, that hadn't been me. It had been her that hurt him. She had done everything, all of it. It was infuriating sharing this body with someone that had done those things. I hated it. I wanted out. I wanted away from her. I wish I could peel myself out of this body and escape it as easily as she could put me on as a disguise.
What is it?
What do you mean?
You just had a weird look on your face.
I didn't even know how to go about explaining the turmoil I was feeling at the moment. How do you explain wanting to beat your own body up because it belongs to someone else? It's nothing. We reached the bridge and Spencer went to lean against the rail. He stood there staring into the distance with an unreadable look on his face. I watched him for just a moment before I joined him at the railing, staring off to where the creek disappeared into the trees. You know, my second day after finding out about the club, I encountered a Spriggan here.
A what?
A Spriggan, a type of fae. It scared the ever-loving crap out of me. I keep thinking how in movies characters power through the stuff so easily. But in real life, it's pretty scary. But you still kinda have to power through, even if you're freaking out the whole time. I wish I could be like Allie. None of this phases her. She just handles it all. She talks about Spriggans and impending doom like it's normal.
She was probably scared at first, too. Anyone would be.
I guess so. She said she nearly died during that time. I still haven't fully heard that story, though. I chewed the inside of my cheek as I watched him. He was just staring straight ahead with a serious look on his face. I'm sorry I kept all this from you. I'm sorry that I treated your suspicions about the club like they were stupid, even though I knew they were true. They'd stressed that I couldn't tell anyone.
It's okay. That part, at least, I somewhat understand.
Awkward. This is so awkward. Why is talking to my own brother this hard? Because you haven't really talked to him in 5 years.
What was it like?
What was what like?
That thing you saw here. The Spriggan or whatever.
Oh, that. Well, it was huge. It was singing some kind of creepy song, and I just stupidly went to check it out. As I do, apparently. Anyway, it grabbed me and tried to drag me off into the woods.
What happened to it?
Apparently it was relocated to a less popular... Wait, what are you doing? He was heading for the edge of the bridge where the ground dropped off toward the creek.
I just want to look.
It's not down there anymore.
I know, but I still want to just look at where it was.
Spencer, come on! Don't... Ugh! I followed him anxiously. I didn't want to look down there again. Even if it was gone, just... Annoyed and a little worried, I followed him down the embankment. And to my great relief, when I peeked under the bridge, there was nothing there. I mean, of course there wasn't. They'd moved it, and I doubted it would just come back. On the side we were on, wet, mossy earth and stone sloped up to the side, creating a somewhat dry area to stand on. I looked up at the underside of the bridge, all worn out and covered in a thick layer of moss. As far as I could tell, there wasn't any real evidence that anything inhuman had ever lived here. I assumed the agency had cleaned up anything weird. Something caught my eye. Faint scribbles on the wall. I leaned closer. It was too dark to see it well. They looked like drawings or maybe writing. I squinted, trying to see it better. Weird. That looks almost like the language we made up. I couldn't tell what it said.
This looks like the kind of place we'd have played when we were kids.
I looked at him over my shoulder, then around the bridge. Yeah, we'd have definitely ended up in the water, and when we went home soaked and muddy, Mom would have had a fit.
Probably.
I traced my fingers over the drawings, wondering if some kid put them there, if it was the work of the Spriggan. I'd imagine this was a popular play spot for the neighborhood kids in the summer.
Hey.
Yeah?
Can I ask you something?
Not like me saying no has ever stopped you before.
Have you given more thought to the whole contract thing and how it happened?
Oh. Yeah, I've thought about it a lot, actually, but I don't know. I really just can't remember anything that seems like it could have been the catalyst.
Do you remember how, in the woods behind our old house, there was that weird mound where we always played?
Oh yeah! I'd completely forgotten about that. We used to have picnics on top. And under it... I trailed off. Wait. Under it? Why had I thought there was something under a hill?
Under it was something else, right?
I looked at him carefully, trying to remember whatever it was that was pulling at my mind. That's right. There was something under the hill, wasn't there?
So it wasn't just a dream.
What wasn't?
That hill. And what happened there.
Wait, what? What happened? I trailed off. That feeling returned, like a memory that wouldn't rise to the surface.
You still don't remember it?
I don't know. I feel like something important happened there. You remember, don't you?
Lately I have this dream about that place. That I went inside it.
That dredged up a strong sense of déjà vu.
And underneath was a massive cavern full of people. I don't know if it's a memory or just a dream. I was hoping you'd remember.
There's something about fairy hills and folklore. Let's read about it. Kept pressing the wrong button. I haven't looked in the journal in ages. Let's see. Human, snow. There we go. Fairy mounds, fairy forts, fairy raths, fairy hills. From ancient times, fairies have been associated with any sort of mound or raised area in the earth. Whether the hill was just a popular haunt, or whether the fae were believed to live beneath it, it's always been dangerous for mortals to trespass onto fairy lands. Fairy hills. Brenna's riddle had a line about that, too. If you went inside the hill, how did you get... There was an explosion of pain behind my right eye, and I doubled over, gripping my head.
Nora! Ugh! My head...
Oh, and her soul's gone.
I... was looking for you. Everyone... was looking. But you wouldn't come when I called, and then... I heard voices under the hill. I don't remember what happened next. Stop. Stop trying to remember! It's fine. What happens in your dream? How did we get you out? I don't know.
I rubbed my temples, though it wasn't helping much.
The fairy hill.
Another stab of pain crawled through my head, and I tried to push the thoughts away.
Maybe it's not relevant anyway. If it's too painful to remember, then stop trying.
But why would it hurt to remember? Because they had sealed my memories up? Damn it! In any case, I have another way to fix the contract issue. Probably. It's a bit of a riddle, but I think I have it mostly solved. That's not a face I've seen often, if at all. Spencer let out a dry laugh.
This is all completely absurd. I'd never believe any of this usually.
He touched his eye, the smile fading off his face.
If I hadn't seen the things that can happen, if I didn't know firsthand that there are things that sometimes can't be explained, I'd think we were both crazy.
When I get my soul sorted out, I'm going to find a way to fix what they did to your eye. I promise.
Just worry about yourself for now. Come on, let's get out of here. This place gives me the creeps.
It also smells like weird mold.
As opposed to normal mold.
Yep. We climbed back up the embankment to the top of the bridge.
Did you tell Mark about what Kaya told you?
Well, he was there for most of the discussion. And then we fought about it, so there's that.
You had a fight with him?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He seems like he's probably pretty easy to fight with.
I guess so. I thought we were closer than that, but... I shrugged.
It's probably best to not get close to someone like that.
Oh? Like what?
A vampire.
Adrian's one too, and you seem pretty friendly with him.
We're not friends.
Okay, then. Well, you've been spending a lot of time with him. Spencer shoved his hands in his pockets and frowned.
It's not because I want to.
So what's going on then? He spoke so quietly that I couldn't hear him over the sound of trickling water. What was that?
Nothing. I'm going to go back.
Okay, I'm going to stay a bit longer.
Mom will worry if I come back alone.
Just tell her I'm a few minutes behind you. I won't stay long.
Suit yourself.
He started back toward the paved path. Spencer?
Yeah?
Thanks. I mean, for just talking to me. It's been a while.
Yeah.
With that, he turned away and disappeared behind the thin row of trees. I stood on the bridge a while longer, just listening to the water. I felt strangely lighter somehow. I am happy. I wanted, like, a long moment like that between the twins, and it was nice to see. By the time I went back up to the house, the sun was already vanishing, and my fingers were frozen. I was looking forward to a cup of hot chocolate. Then, maybe I'd paint for a little while. I spent the rest of the afternoon working on Brenna's riddle, but didn't make much progress. I'd figured the easy parts, and I was just completely stuck on the rest. I really need some help with this. I was glad the holiday would be over soon. I went to get the jar of St. John's wort so I could barricade myself in my room. I couldn't help but wonder what Miss Changeling thought of that. I could only imagine how much it annoyed her. I just don't understand why Miss Changeling doesn't see that you have the dispelling agent in your room and just doesn't grab it and go, and then she can just go. She's just like, I will walk over this. It was like a silent war between us now. Though I guess the war had been going on for a while. I just hadn't been aware. I thought I'd left it here. The little jar wasn't on the bookshelf where I thought I'd left it. I looked at my bedside table. Not there either. I searched everywhere, all along my shelves, under the bed, in the drawer. It was nowhere to be found. The other one was missing as well. Did Mom find them? The only time I'd been out of my room the entire day was when Spencer and I were done at the bridge. But if Mom had found them, she'd have said something. I heard movement in the bathroom and went to peek through my partially open door. Spencer was brushing his teeth. I pushed the door open and stuck my head in. He glared at me, looking more rabid than usual thanks to the toothpaste foam around his mouth. Sorry, I can't find the jar of herbs I used to keep me in my room at night, or the one I used to dispel it. Have you seen them?
Why would I have seen them? I don't go in your room.
I don't know. I just can't find them, so I don't know.
Maybe your friend, what was it, a brownie?
But it's never taken my stuff before.
That doesn't mean it can't start.
Yeah, but... Ugh, damn it. This is serious. What if I sleepwalk tonight? What if she tries to go home or something? Ugh, fine. I just won't sleep tonight. Or, alternatively, you could text Elliot and or Danny and like, yo, I lost my herbs. Could you keep an eye out and make sure I don't wander off into the bog where dead people are? I returned to my room, slamming the door behind me. Maybe it really was that stupid brownie. I wondered where its stash was. Surely it had a place where it hid stuff, besides the front cabinet. I feel like it would burn itself trying to take the St. John's wort, though. Maybe I should check there after Mom and Dad go to bed. Come to think of it, one of the jars was Fairy Bane. It hurt me through the glass. Had the brownie been so determined that it didn't care if it was hurt? Right? But why? Then again, it was Fae after all. Maybe this was just its way of siding with the changeling. I flopped on my bed and picked up a book. As soon as it was quiet downstairs, I'd go check in the cabinet, just in case. If I didn't find them, I definitely had to avoid sleeping. Now more than ever, I couldn't afford to be sneaking out at night. It was around midnight by the time I was able to sneak downstairs to check the cabinet for the jars. It was the only place I could think of that they might be. That was the brownie's usual hiding spot. Then again, that was just for pranks. If stealing my herbs was its way of helping the changeling, I might not be finding them. And I didn't like the idea of having another enemy in the house. I wonder if I can contact Shelley for more of them. I had no idea how. I didn't have her number. I made it down to the foyer and padded to the cabinet. Pulling the door open, I shined the light of my phone inside. There was nothing there. Darn. What was that? I thought I heard something. A faint noise. Footsteps? I crept quietly to the kitchen in time to see someone vanish out the back door. Spencer? What was he doing? The first thing that popped into my head was sleepwalking, but that was impossible. Or it should be. Oh man, have we switched roles with the twins? That would be hilarious. I was the one with a fairy in my head. Ah, but you haven't been ravened by a vampire. Though I guess technically I'm the one in her head. Should I call out to him? But I was kind of worried. It was weird for him to be doing this, and he might not tell me what was going on. I shifted from one foot to the other before I finally shoved my feet into a pair of sneakers by the door and followed him. I love this.